Hey YouTube world, it's me Evelyn. I have been watching a lot of television. Not to say that my social life was popping, but this is the most TV I've probably ever watched in recent years. So I thought it would be helpful for your viewing pleasure to review some of the shows that I watched during quarantine or self-isolation or social distancing or staying at home, whatever the appropriate term is. This is a review of everything that I watched. I kept track, okay. Tiger King. Tiger King feels like it was years ago, but it was still 2020. And I reluctantly watched Tiger King because of social media. I will say I had zero interest other than that, and it was just the hype surrounding Tiger King. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, it's so ridiculous. Wasn't that shook about most of it. I don't know if it's because I live in the South, and so all those characters are like real people that I've seen. I think the allure was that look at these weird people doing weird things, and I'm like, oh gosh, they're just Southern. That's all that is. Carol Baskin killed her husband. Maybe she didn't kill her husband, but she knows what happened. If you've never watched it, you shouldn't feel the need to press play on that. Oh, okay. Little Fires Everywhere. Let's get into it. Anything that our good sis Reese Witherspoon is in, I will indulge, okay? I super enjoyed Big Little Lies. I always confuse Pretty Little Liars, Big Little Lies, Little Fires Everywhere. Reese Witherspoon, Kerry Washington. I loved the show, not even necessarily because of those two characters, but I loved the show because of the kids. The actors that they got to play all the kids, of both families were amazing, emotional, and they did a really good job of being angsty without being annoying. A lot was going on in that show, and I was hooked. I mean, I wanted to know what happened next, and unlike most of the shows I had been watching during quarantine, it was one of the few that only one episode came out at a time. So Kerry Washington's character was very irritating. Over time, I was like, am I supposed to like Kerry Washington's character? Am I supposed to be on her side? Because I'm not. I'm not on Reese's side either, but at least Reese Witherspoon's character is who she says she is for the most part. Kerry Washington's character has this moment where she realizes that the older daughter put her abortion in her daughter's name. Oh! Ripped her to shreds verbally. And I was like, listen, I know she's a child, but it was amazing. I had to run it back and watch it again because that was one of the few times where Kerry Washington's character really laid into somebody, but with good reason. Because before, she just talking this and that, judging people, and you're like, but you got mad secrets. I think in the end, worth it. Okay, when you realize who set that fire. So the show starts with the end, which I really like that too. The show starts with the end, and then it takes you on the journey to how they got there, and when you find out how they got there, the payoff was great. So I recommend Little Fires Everywhere. I tried watching Westworld. I only got to season 2. By the time they started speaking Japanese, I couldn't really handle it because I watch things with captions. And so the closed captioning covered the Japanese translation of some of the characters. And so it was just frustrating. Like, I don't really know what's going on. So-and-so is a robot. We didn't realize they was a robot till now. And it was doing the most. Westworld is one of the most violent, one of the most rat-tat-tat television shows I've ever watched in my life. The amount of shooting in that show is outrageous. To the point where it's just like, you don't even really remember a plot point because guns have been going off the entire time. There are some parts that are very interesting when you think about the concept of what is life, what is a soul, what is reality, who feels love, who is a creation and who is a creator. Like, these are all interesting concepts. Anthony Hopkins being Anthony Hopkins. The main thing about Westworld that I couldn't quite understand was, what year are we in that women would voluntarily go to Westworld and pay to put themselves in a time period where women were treated so badly. The number of women that went to Westworld just for funsies, I'm like, is this the year 4000? There's not a time period in modern day that I want to go back to. So I don't know why anyone would want to go back to the Wild Wild West if you're a woman. But I might give it another shot later on. I watched Never Have I Ever, the show by Mindy Kaling, and it's about a young Indian girl who is just, coming of age. Like, she's living her life, trying to navigate adolescence. I thought it was super freaking cute. I enjoyed the experience of watching it. The main dude, her main love interest, it was never believable that they were in the same age group. Never believable. I liked how the mom wasn't portrayed as an absolute fob. I think that's the typical illustration. So that was refreshing because it didn't feel like so much of a stereotype. I would watch season 2 if they were to have a season 2. It was super cute. Speaking of super freaking cute, I watched the movie Half of It. It was a beautiful little movie. It portrayed a platonic friendship between a girl and a boy in a very cute, heartfelt way. It's about this girl, this Asian girl. It's like a Cyrano de Bergerac type. Is that how you say it? Cyrano de Bergerac type story of she writes the letters on behalf of the boy to the girl that he likes, but then she ends up liking her. It's a whole thing. It was super precious. I cried at the end. I liked how the ending was more a moment between the friends, the platonic friends, not so much a moment between the romantic interests. I just really enjoyed that, and I thought it was sweet and super cute, and I like seeing relationships like that. So I cried. I liked it. 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10. High Fidelity. I watched High Fidelity on Hulu, I believe, with Zoe Kravitz. And I never watched the John Cusack movie from the 80s, but I watched this. It was good. I still like female characters who don't have their life together. I think that is a trope that I'm not tired of yet, just because it feels honest. I liked Zoe Kravitz's character in this show. It is different than Big Little Lies, okay? So she's not just playing herself, okay? We're giving you acting. I do think, if I could critique just a little bit, it was one of those shows where the side characters and the best friends in the subplot, they didn't really give them as much, and I completely didn't really care what they were up to at any given time. Sorry. Oh my goodness. Insecure. HBO's Insecure. Before COVID-19, I had every intention to watch this season in full at the same time. I did not want to watch episode by episode, week to week, just because I felt like things weren't really happening quickly enough for me to drum up any sort of interest week to week. That's just me though. I think it's a fun show to watch at one time. It's not really cliffhangers abound. It's just the development of someone's life over time. I enjoyed it. I want to see another season to see what they do. Lord, I want to see what they do. Molly still get on my nerves. I don't even think her and her boo had that much chemistry on camera anyway, but that's just me though. I'm hurt. I'm hurt at how Issa and Lawrence panned out. I'm in my entire feelings. I wanted them to be together. I'm one of those, okay? I wanted them to be together, but Condoleezza Rice just came through, and I mean, she didn't mess everything up because it takes two, all right? But the music, fire. I love the soundtrack and the songs that they choose. Issa's fashion is elevating. So I will be tuning in to the next season. But I'm not happy about it. I'm not happy about where they're taking it. Ooh, Blood and Water. So Blood and Water is Netflix's second South African Netflix original. And so I gave it a watch. It's about a girl who, her older sister, who she never knew, was kidnapped, and she's presumed dead all these years. But she thinks she's found her, and so shenanigans ensue. It held my attention. The shenanigans, the suspense, it seemed real. The sleuthing that they had to do was entertaining. I would watch a season 2. Again, I liked that they didn't make the teenagers insufferable. They are just really trying to live their life, trying to get some answers, because the grown-ups fail them a lot of the time. So Blood and Water. Avatar: The Last Airbender hit Netflix in May, and that's what I spent my time watching. I hadn't watched it since it came out originally in like 2005, 2004, and rocked my socks off. Still, it's a great television show. Nickelodeon really did something there. I never watched Legend of Korra. I mean, I tried. I don't too much like Korra, so it makes a show about her hard to watch. But Avatar, it's so good. It's so good. So many nuggets and life lessons that hit different as an adult. And I made a video talking about Prince Zuko and how he is an active ally, okay? So give that a watch if you want, in addition to watching the entirety of Avatar: The Last Airbender. I heard they're coming out with a movie, a live action movie. They tried it already. There is already a live action version of Avatar: The Last Airbender in existence. We're not going to talk about that, okay? It's in the past. Hopefully this one is going to give us a little better, okay? You live and learn. Okay, so I watched Outer Banks, which I had been avoiding that show for so long because Netflix kept being like, do you want to watch Outer Banks? Do you want to watch Outer Banks? And I'm like, no, it looks like Brink, but surfboarding. Who calls it surfboarding? Surfing. I mean, Brink was a time. Okay, shout out to Disney Channel original films, but I wasn't particularly interested. I was wrong. Outer Banks is not about that. That's the power of a thumbnail. I thought based off the thumbnail that it was just like, yeah, we're gonna catch some waves, like coming of age. And that's just not what it's about. Man, that has to be one of the top shows for me that I watched during quarantine. Outer Banks had adventure. It had danger, like very serious danger. It had comedy. It was drama. Oh my gosh, it was so sad at times. So it's based in North Carolina, and an island off the coast of North Carolina, and there are the haves and the have-nots. There are people who have boats and people who work on boats. And so these groups of kids, they're trying to find some buried treasure. I know it sounds a little ridiculous, but it works. My favorite character was not the main dude, but the other white dude. I forgot his name, but he had an abusive father and he was a loose cannon. When I say that character, that boy was a wild card. The actor who played it was so good because I cried. So I just thought he was a very well-rounded, thoughtful character, and I liked him. But Outer Banks, 10 out of 10 for me. Okay, there were moments where I was clenching because I was so tense. Didn't know what was gonna happen. Didn't know who was gonna die, okay, or get hurt. I would give that a watch. One of the things I didn't enjoy watching, Lovebirds, okay? I had to give it 2 tries. The first time I tried watching it, I like cut it off. The second time I was like, no, I'm gonna stick with it. And I did, and I ended up finishing it. I didn't think they had any chemistry, so they're supposed to be dating, like together, long term. I think they had been together 5 years, but I don't think they really had romantic chemistry. I think they came off as like really close best buds. It wasn't giving me like Hot Fuzz or what's it called, Shaun of the Dead. It wasn't giving me like funny shenanigans. It was just like shenanigans with some jokes. I didn't enjoy it. I think the actors did the absolute best that they could with the script. That's what I think. Oh my goodness. The Five Bloods by Spike Lee joint. Wow. I will say, warning, this is a violent movie, a pretty bloody movie. It's about Vietnam vets going back to Vietnam to find the remains of their friend and fallen soldier, played by Chadwick Boseman. That's why he got skinty. Bad things happen. Bad things happen. And it's a long movie too. I think it's like 2.5 hours, and bad things don't start happening until halfway through the movie. And you're like, nothing bad has really happened. And then one after the other, bad things happen. Jonathan Majors is in that movie. Great. The men who played the Five Bloods were amazing. And I will say, this is no shade to Spike Lee or whoever be writing these movies, but the reason I hated She's Gotta Have It was the dialogue. And the reason the Five Bloods works is because the dialogue is now age appropriate. In She's Gotta Have It, you had people my age and younger talking about, yeah, show your right. And that's just like, who does that? But now in the Five Bloods, it's a bunch of Vietnam vets, and they're like, you picking up what I'm putting down, Jack? And that just makes a lot more sense. And I enjoyed watching it. It's violent. I thought it was a good movie. I mean, I watched a lot of stuff, to be honest. I watched Queer Eye. I watched Top Chef, Degrassi, Gossip Girl, just a lot of things. Those are the run in the background TV shows, as opposed to these shows where you pay attention and watch them. What else? I watched the Jeffrey Epstein documentary. I watched Athlete A about USA Gymnastics, and like the sexual assault from Dr. What's-His-Face. Those were some difficult documentaries. I watched Disclosure, the documentary about trans people and their depiction in the media. A lot of the things that were analyzed, I'm like, I remember watching them, as a child, and it not registering, obviously. That's my privilege. But like, wow. Whack. So whack. I also watched Crip Camp, which was a documentary about the fight for the Americans with Disabilities Act of, was it 1990? And how a lot of those people met at a camp, like a summer camp, that was for people with various disabilities. Just to see that story, which is not one that's told pretty much ever, of the things people had to risk in order to get accessibility, in order to get the things we take for granted now. We think that automatic doors just be opening because we decided it was a good idea one day, or the button that you press so the doors open. Ramps didn't exist on the sidewalk before, relatively recently in our history. I thought it was a really good documentary to show that it truly is a handful of dedicated people who go hard, and them going hard makes the world a better place for other people. So I thought it was a great documentary. Anyway, that was not every single thing I watched during quarantine, but the stuff I remember that I watched. So in the comments below, let me know what you thought if you watched any of these. What do you think I should watch next? And I will see you on the internet somewhere. Bye.